everybody get into the session. There's a bit of a lag between StreamYard and LinkedIn, but we'll get started. We're with Tim and Aiste from the iconic British retailers, one of my favorite retailers, that's for sure. Reiss today. We're going to be with Tim and Aiste probably for the next 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so, just asking questions about L&D, challenges they've seen, and their implementation of their Thrive platform, which they went live with this year. So we'll do some very, very quick introductions, and then we'll get into it. Aiste, I'll pass to you first.
Yes, hi everyone. So my name is Aiste. I'm a learning partner for retail at Reiss, and I look after global learning initiatives across our US, EU, and UK teams, from onboarding to progression and beyond. So nice to see you. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you. And Tim?
Yeah, titles, okay. Essentially, I support the learning development in Reiss. Official title, Senior Manager, Learning Development Manager. So that's a mouthful, isn't it? That's a mouthful. Essentially, it's helping with all initiatives for learning across our workforce, working with Aiste. Been here for about 11 years as well. So wow. Seen some change in that time,
And talk to me a little bit about Reiss then, in terms of the demographic, where you support. Obviously, you've got head office, retail, etc. What's that kind of breakdown across the organization today?
Yeah, so we've got about probably 350 people in our head office in London, across 2 offices, got a satellite one. We've got about 16 people in a US office, and then the rest of our workforce is made up of our retail population. And there's about 200 people in the US. We have obviously people situated in Europe, and then the largest population is across the UK. Amazing.
And, you went live with Thrive at the start of this year. You had a previous LMS for quite a number of years, and you've made the jump to kind of start afresh. I guess on your journey, it was about going slightly beyond just learning and development in one single platform. So you're addressing kind of multiple use cases, I guess. Can one of you, I don't know who's best, share that kind of journey that you went on during that implementation process to replace your previous technology and then launching Thrive?
I mean, we had an LMS which we leaned on during COVID. So, we had to get something up and running quite quickly. So, and we had an option at the time which we were just using for head office, but we quickly tried to push it out to all of our retailers. And the product was great. It served us well. I think the challenge we had, it wasn't evolving as quick as we wanted it to evolve. So when that came to it at the end of its contract, then we were looking actually what can we use next. And we've got some key pillars that we're looking for in our people team. So it's not just about LMS. I mean, our key pillars that we're trying to deliver on for our people team is around collaboration, progression, recognition, as well as belonging. So there's some important things that we're trying to pull the levers on. So we were looking for a platform that could also support that. That's one of the things in the back of my mind. What can we use? What platform can also help us deliver on those things as well? And try to build almost, I think the word community, we're trying to build like a community where everyone's connected, across the globe and can connect. And that's something at the back of my mind. How can we create a place where everyone can interact? And, over the years, I've seen many providers, and started the conversations with you about 2 years ago, must have been Josh, 2 years ago, and said that weren't ready to move anywhere yet. But then when it did come, really felt that the Thrive offering was actually moving on and moved further on to our original offering, is where I'd hoped our original platform went, but Thrive was going there, it was there, and it was offering all the things that I thought, it's kind of, I think Thrive, the best way to describe it, it's like a tech company. There's different aspects to it. It's not just an LMS. There's different core products that are being developed alongside it, which I think is always exciting. So,
yeah, we're seeing kind of lots of retailers now wanting to consolidate their tech stack ultimately. So rather than just using one platform for an LMS and then a comms tool and these types of pillars, given budget cuts and that type of thing around the world, they're looking to consolidate. So I just did a post on LinkedIn yesterday with Fred Perry, who were doing a very similar thing, using it for learning, comms, and knowledge, rather than all these different platforms and sending people to different solutions. So it's a bit of a growing trend because it makes things, well, a lot simpler for the employees to access content, right?
That's exactly what we switched off our head office intranet. So we had that about 3 years. We switched it off. It was quite static, wasn't delivering what we needed to. So we actually switched that off, and I've pulled that. So that's the interesting thing with us, is that, you know, those two main audiences operate quite differently. So our head office audience is very much different to, obviously, our, as you would expect, and any retailers out there, to our retail audience. Our head office audience is very much desktop focused. You know, so that integration works really well, whereas our retail audience is very much mobile first, or iPads. Even they've got mini iPads. And that was something we realized back in COVID. Actually, we used Workplace back in COVID for when we had a warehouse, and it worked brilliant because they were deskless, so they were just really interacting with it really well at the time. Whereas the head office population on desktops didn't tend to interact as well. So they're different challenges, but we seem to, you know, we've hit the sweet spot, I think, with Thrive, and it's allowing us to cater to both.
And how did you approach the implementation then? Obviously, with a head office demographic, laptop driven, probably using Teams a lot, that type of thing. And then you've got the retail stores, 300 plus. Mobile's probably a big use case there. Obviously, trying to pull lots of people in retail stores off things like WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups, which is very common when we speak to retailers. How did you approach the implementation, Aiste, in terms of, we have this head office population here and then retail there? Did you treat them separately, or was it quite singular in terms of how you approach that?
So ours is quite singular, but trying to quite align everything, because it's about the learning journey. But from perspective in retail teams, you know, for us, if we're talking about, yes, mobile phone is, you know, primarily, but we also implemented other things like iPad and on our tills as well. So it's quite a lot of different ways for them to reach Muse and, you know, the learning and gain those skills on the go, because that's it in the stores. You just do that on the go. It has to be available straight away, you know, to take in and learn, and equally apply that on the job straight away, that practical part. So yes, that's how we went. So, but for head office, it's slightly probably different. But for retail, that's how we approached it.
That's probably a good segue, actually. If we share screens, you have different experiences for different audiences, right? So you've got head office experiences, retail experiences, some for managers, etc. I think that one of the screen that you've got here, Tim, is for head office specifically, right?
Yeah, specific. So there's a different brief for head office as there was to retail. So with retail, you know, at the moment where we are, and again, this is an ongoing thing. It's very much around just give them what they need to know from a learning perspective. So it's very much, you know, Aiste has been heavily revamping the induction, and that's all pretty much they will get to see at the moment. But we are starting. We want to expand that, but initially, as this engagement stage, which will probably take us through, I reckon, till later in the year. Just give them what they need, that learning experience, because everyone's going through this induction process. Again, Aiste will probably tell you, we've done a reset.
A reset.
You see what we did there?
You came up with that.
Yes.
Hours. That was hours of thinking today. Hours of thinking. And actually, one thing I've noticed, you know, I've been in it this long, but there's been very little resistance, funny enough, for them to all go through this reset, which has been really, really encouraging. They've really, you know, they're really engaging with it. So we will expand it. Our intention is to, but at the moment, it was specifically that. Whereas if I'm looking here, so I'm not looking out of the window, I'm just looking because there's another screen, by the way. But you'll see that we're trying to leverage different ways on those pillars I talked about. So collaboration, recognition, progression. We're just trying to use the functionality of the platform to see what we can do. So, you know, this is our campaign. We're currently launching a new recognition campaign for our head office employees. And what we're going to be using is these content blocks where people can just add into the comments and at people. We'll have one each month and recognize people. Again, just trying to bring everyone together. That's one example. We also use it for our new starters at head office. So we always have when everyone joins each week or whenever we have a new starter, so everyone can jump in and put in the comments, welcome to Reiss as well. Our head office, all our comms, we have a big, we call it Muse News. Muse is the name of our platform, if anyone's wondering why we keep talking about the Muse. The Muse News we have, and this is like, we have a newsletter. See what we're doing?
The marketing again.
Look at this. And this is just, again, ideas of content. And, these are, for example, PDF contents, where we just, we have our monthly Your Development newsletter, which, everyone can jump onto. And that's just one example of some static content of a PDF. We're also using it for things like events in the business. So any events, as well as signing up to, if it's webinars, we're using it for those. But even things for like, we have our summer social coming up, so we're using it for that, so people can join up to our summer social. And even our town hall, which we hold twice a year, we're holding that on here, so you can sign up for it here. So we're trying to put it all onto here. This was an old campaign, as well as essential learning. So yes, there is learning, but we're trying to use it for all those other functions as well.
And if anybody's got any comments or questions, please feel free to use the chat. Just pop some questions. I'm sure Tim and I still be keen to show that as well. So this is one view for head office, and I guess you've also got then the retail experience. So when you log in, we provision the employees in based on integrations that recognizes somebody's name, language, role, department, store, etc., and then personalizes the content that they see. Tim, have you got an example of like a retail pathway or something that someone in retail might go through from an experience?
Yeah, so we could do like maybe like a store concession manager. So in retail in particular, for us, where we really stepped back, because with the previous LMS we had, it was not specific to the role or not tailored approach. And I think so that's what Thrive really excited me, because it was specific to tailored to the role. So you can see what you have to see, instead of seeing everything and trying to figure out what learning you should complete, or where to look, or where to find the stuff. So I think so that was for us a really big driver, especially for retail teams. So each role within our retail population sees all the relevant content for them. They can explore and search more, but the view is there, and having that essential learning in as a primary, and then you have your different pathways and different learning resources. Testing out and trying out UGC, as well as part of that. So it's very exciting. And I love what Tim mentioned from the perspective that it was very little resistance, like from retail teams, because majority times you would hear it's a time issue, or finding that time to really engage with the resources or the learning available to you. Are those aimed to upskill you, engage you, educate you. But time has always been a main challenge. And this time round, it wasn't the case. So it's very surprising, because, sometimes when you launch a new product, you think, oh, okay, so this might be, things coming out at you, but it wasn't. And it's simply their teams were so excited to see that, because not only from the look, like it felt new, fresh, because as part of that, we also launched quite transformational tools overall for retail. Alongside Muse. So Muse really became enabler, to bring everything to life. So yes, and the tailored view been really well received.
And has your content strategy changed or evolved then since you've launched the platform? Like, are you using social learning more? Or are you just focusing on building content internally? I know you leverage our content solutions as well.
Yeah.
How's it evolved to kind of use more kind of user-generated content?
I think one thing I've learned to do is let go more, because I think, when you first go into L&D, you really become, you think you've got to provide everything. And I think obviously we're moving away from that. I like to say as a team, we're lean and mean. It's gone are the days when, particularly in our business, where you might have, when I first went into L&D, you might have an L&D partner in this region and this region. It's just, that's just not, that's not viable for us these days. So, we're looking at different ways of leveraging content from people out there, as well as, using your content. How can we get content on there quicker?
Yeah.
And we're still on that journey. Definitely want to go into that place where we get more user-generated content. And that will be part of our journey. We're not quite there yet. We know, but we haven't really pushed it, because we're just getting people to interact. But I definitely see that's the place of, getting people to put their own content on, and just leveraging on that. And that's a big behavior change for us as well. And also understanding that people have got other time pressures. So, trying to understand that too. But there's different ways of us doing it. Like, for example, our IT team, we've just given them a homepage block, and they're just starting to add, for example, their own newsletter. So it's just little wins like that where we're chipping away to get those to get that you know, up and running, that user generated approach.
And it's interesting when you mentioned that. How big is the team? Because when I speak to learning talent HR teams and they're thinking about introducing a new technology, they usually get asked the question like, how many people does it take to implement this? Like, you haven't got a huge team, right?
So the main team is us. So 1,700. But we did lean on other members of the people team as well. That's really important to get them involved in it. So we have someone, you know, from head office perspective, retail perspective, to get them on it. So we had, you know, and that was quite important in the implementation, I think, really to engage with different areas. We had someone from our brand, you know, getting those different areas in to so it doesn't just become an L&D project, because, you know, that's often kind of happens sometimes. We're trying to make it a business change project, not just an L&D project. So really engaging with different people in that core project team right at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that you've done really well, like coming together, like got great assets in the platform in terms of like the design banners and the tiles, etc., leaning into design, comms, etc., to build a wonderful learning and employee experience, right, has been critical to that launch, which is great. What would your number one tip be? Let's go one each here. Somebody in L&D, talent, HR, who's about to replace a learning system, like what's that one thing they should really focus on to get right for a successful launch?
Don't do it. No.
Don't say that.
Sorry. Are we live? Oh yeah, sorry. Aiste, you can go first.
I love that. I can repeat, don't do it. No, do it. Opposite. I was like really driving in the change. Because that's the thing where you get you know, this thing where you do the needs analysis and understand what the teams are lacking and how to change and improve and really re-engage back to the teams. And so we start building that learning culture, you know, from everything what we do. But so for me, I think so it's all about where, if you're on that journey and starting out, really understand why and what you would like from the platform that it would deliver. And you know, like with Thrive, I'm not doing the ad now, but seriously, like from the first interactions, the whole team, and it's not like one person, the whole team been there all the way, and you know, like really explained the how it all works, you know, the face-to-face workshops, really digging into understanding exactly what we want to achieve, you know, why we're doing it and how they best support. And I think so that, you know, that collaboration with that platform really ticks all the boxes to start with. So if you have that, the rest flows. You know, you have to have an amazing team like me and Tim and the rest of our people team and the stakeholders. So yes, but that collaboration with your platform, that's your best way forward. And where Sim said no, don't do it, I'll say yes, do it.
I think chat is understand the challenges, you know, understanding what you want. And I think with us, it was more of when it came to the decision process, I was also looking for, I suppose, a strategic partner, you know, someone who we could learn from as well. So on that, you know, L&D, we all know it's evolving so quickly, and it's like, you know, who can hold our hand as well and tell us maybe what some of the current trends are just beyond the platform, and who can help guide us on those, you know, what some of the current trends, what's happening out there, and probably hold our hand on that journey. So I think that was probably a big thing of why, you know, why we went to Thrive as well. It's exciting how they're thinking about learning as well, and that was a big thing. And then it comes down to, I suppose, brand fit, right? I just felt like this product fitted with our brand. It just had the personality behind it that felt like, you know what, this feels like a good fit.
Great answers. Kerry's popped a message into the chat. Hi, Kerry. Hope you're well. Loving the session. I would love to understand if you've seen a change in learner behaviour. For example, are the team learning more at work on shift, in stores, or outside of work hours since the change?
Yeah.
Sorry,
go on, yeah.
No, so if we look, because you have a great insights as part of you know, within the platform, so you can really look at behaviour and really analyze, you know, what those hours they do learn. So Hours, actually, when I looked at it, most of it happens within the working hours. And that's what's encouragement is, you have to, like, it's about assigning and finding that time. So even it's 15 minutes, wait 2 minutes of resource and apply it back. So the hours around they're doing on the shift, and majority hours we do either between 9 and 11, and then late in the afternoon. So after the big rush, between around like 2:30 and 4. So these are these are the core hours for us, like where you look from the user behavior, especially for retail.
And I think that what's important about that question as well, Kerry, is that obviously we've got a US team, and we have to be very careful with our US team as well. Again, what we ask them to do, inside of work and outside of work, and and even in the UK too. And we were really clear, like, we are not asking anyone to access this outside of work. Yep. And it was a decision, actually. We thought about if they want to, they can. And when you own to our platform, it does say that in our, like this, you can put your own terms. And we do say that, like, we don't ask you to, but if you so wish, please do, if you feel you want to then. So, but what we have got is we've managed to get some really good champions within our stores who are really giving it the time, which I think's really helped as well. Really helped.
Did you go out to like area managers or regional managers to actually get the champions, or did you go direct to store level? How did you approach it to get those champions?
It actually was quite organic, to be honest, and that's what we did with this platform. Everything we were doing is more through encouragement, engagement, talking about it. Yes, to talk through the whole parties, from area meetings to engage. But what we really looked at more organic, and that's how it happened. Even from our sign-ups when we launched on the first couple of days, and you have like straight away 50% and 60%, and moving to that, it's that organic. But also it showed there is a place and hunger for that, from the teams as well. So I think that's the reason was also it's so little like pushing back and things like that, because people really wanted to have a product, and especially when you open it and you love it and you see the benefit behind it and the value being put back into you as a person, as a learner. That's really straight away was the winner.
We also got our global retail director behind it early on, which helps. So yeah, and obviously if you're going to try and influence the behaviour, that helps. Below that, there was some of the area manager team below that again were key messages on that. So when it came to launching our retail conference in February for the store managers, we already had that buy-in as this is important, and they are still championing it along the way. So that really helps as well. So, and we're trying to find that balance between pushing, you must do this, or but actually I want to do it, and we want to tread on that. We want it to be a thing that they want to do rather than this thing that they feel. In retail, we're very compliance based because we don't want that to feel like, oh my god, I've got to do it. We want to feel like, this is pretty cool. And that's one, I think, great thing about the comments that you get on each piece of content. And I have to say, going back, if I'm looking at learner behavior, like you said, Kat, like just to be able to read some of the comments that are being put, like Aiste and I spend a lot of time going back on trying to go through our notifications and answer all these comments or thumbs up or things people are putting on. And it's like amazing. It's time consuming, but it's great. Like people saying, I read one on our belonging video the other day, and they said, I really feel like I belong at this brand, never felt like this before. Just stuff like that you read and you think, oh my God, that's like, or someone put the other day, I'm really looking forward to connecting with other people in the business. And when you're getting stuff like that in comments, that's like, it's gold. And you can't force that. And it's like, so you spend a lot of time if going back on, and engaging with those comments.
I love that. Again, goes back to your point of building a bit of a community in terms of recognition, the new starters, it all kind of comes together right in terms of that.
And I think, Jala, that's something I probably didn't plan in that we'd be doing as part of the after work, thinking that we need to kind of ring fence some time. And we're even trying to do it with our team, like the people team, make sure you go on. And actually that's something to think about, give yourself some time, or people time to go on and engage with those comments to get people on.
Nice. Got a few more questions. Let's take Steve Hartley's. Hi, Steve. So following on from Kerry, how are you measuring success?
Yeah, the golden question at the moment. I'll be honest, I'm not as aggressive of going, hey, this is the return on investment of this because of that. Now, we had some clear briefs when we launched this. One was to digitalize our induction and ensure that we're getting, at least 80% on compliance on this, right? That was one of our measurements, which is, we're expending that to the end of the year. So that's a big place we want to be. At the end of this year, we want to make sure that we have, 80% plus compliance on our induction, as well as some of our head office compliance pathways. But there is definitely scope to start, really then, diving in to figure out how we can really see if it's improving sales,
Nice.
Product knowledge, etc. And that's something I think that we will get better at, even with the impact team, Josh, as well, as we go down that line. But at the moment, we're very clear it's about getting people on the platform, getting them used to using it, and then we can start really digging into that success. And comments is a way of measuring it in my eyes as well. Like I can look at some of these comments, and I suppose it's not as quantifiable as some success measures, but it's something that we can definitely utilize. And then we have our annual engagement survey, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that when we launch that in October, because we have some direct questions in that which we're trying to move, and that was one of the reasons we wanted to launch the platform again around development, etc. So I'm really hoping that we're going to see the dial move in our engagement survey later on in the year when we ask those questions.
And that might link nicely to the next question, potentially. Maybe you don't know the answer just yet. But Andrew asked, I saw a report today which says there are a 33.6 rate of turnover in retail. Is this the same for Reiss? How's the platform affected that turnover?
So great question. Like labour turnover in retail is, it's always high, Andrew. And I'm really looking forward to, again, start to dig into that when we see our annual Have Your Say results, as well as our labour turnover results, to see what impact it's having on that. Again, that is definitely something, we'd want to see reduce, definitely.
Are you launching your employee annual survey via Thrive or not? Does it go via a different platform?
No, we've got a different platform. Yeah, we've got a different platform which we use, and it's got. No, I'm not going to say. I won't plug here, but we do have another platform, and our season usually runs from October when we use that. That's our annual when we drop it in. So, again, historically, we've looked at different populations of where there's some, where they're not as happy, and we're hoping to see a difference with that, with both labour turnover and their engagement scores.
Makes sense.
Yeah, from there. And equally from other side, if you look for more, because we're really trying to align and clarify, what other steps when you talk about career progression or continuous development within the company, to really drop down that, labour turnover as well. Where somebody sees the path, how they can progress within the company, they're most likely to stay and stick, and see the career with us. So it's a lot of work in the background as well. It's just part of that when we launch Thrive. We don't. It's
interesting you said that, because I was reading the comment today. We've got a piece of content that says how to have a career conversation, and I was looking at one of the comments today, and it said, "I'm happy as a sales associate." And I was like, "Okay, amazing, brilliant."
We've got a couple of minutes left. What's the plan for the rest of the year? What's on the roadmap? What are you excited about? What are you kind of introducing next into the platform itself?
Aiste can tell you from a retail perspective. I can take the head office one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can leverage things, as I say, the recognition side of things. I'm really interested in threads that are coming out, so that's something that really, really interests me. You mentioned WhatsApp culture. We have a massive WhatsApp culture in retail, and it's a challenge sometimes because you don't know what's on there. Our retail teams don't have access to the Microsoft Suite or Teams, so they don't have that kind of place to I suppose interact. So threads, I'm really excited to see what happens with that. That's I think quite exciting. And for us, I think from a head office thing is we're using the campaigns heavily for our events, and it's just continuing that engagement for us. I think for me, that's the big thing, continuing engagement, so it doesn't become this flash in the pan. That's, I think, from a head office perspective.
Yeah, from retail for us, is that resets side is so important, that everyone will go through the new tools and what's as part of the launch. But equally, like really looking forward to start engaging more with SMEs so they become part of it. They are already there, but it's just like a deeper engagement. Where somebody asks a question, so you get the answer straight away. So things like that, and of course, user-generated content as well. How to try that.
Yeah,
really
I've been talking about that already. So at head office, I mean, for retail, we just have Lionel, but we're already talking about, because what's happening, we're going on. People are liking us and want to follow us, but when we go onto their profiles, we're finding they've uploaded something, but we're missing it. Yeah. So we're now looking at creating a homepage block where it's like, Reiss News or Reiss Contributes or whatever, so that their social channel, so that they can just start uploading, like, because we get pictures of like, hi, this is my Sunday team and it's brilliant. It's like, but how can we surface this? So we're now looking at doing a content block where, it's quite general at the moment, but if it builds pace, we can then maybe categorize a service one or a product one, but we do maybe start with a generic one first of all, where they can just upload all this content that they are doing, which we may not be seeing at the moment.
Yeah, and for us, it's the beginning, that's again, it's been 2 months. That's again, so, where the whole implementation started and things like this, the retail launch only happened 2 months ago. So it's very fresh. And it's that, that encouragement and it's about building that excitement. So they want to come in, they want to see, they want to explore, they want to learn, they want to pass it on, they want to share with the team, and bring that to life as well into the stores, to the customers, because that's what it is, and delivering that elevated experience we are so thriving about. So, and
one thing that's been helpful is the speed that we can get content on at the moment. So we are, like the other day I had, there was a director asked for a specific bit of content. We were able to go to the content team at Thrive and say, look, I need something around this, and the speed of turnaround, even it is quite quick, which is really helpful at the moment. So we can really turn around content. And push out, our CFO the other week said, we need this specific content to go out to all our head office again. What can we do? And within a day, it was like, oh, we've got this, we can push it, we can set it as an assignment, done. So the speed that we can push it is.
They quickly measure it as well, right?
Yeah, and we've got the compliance, measure at the end of it as well.
Yeah, and bespoke dashboard as well to analyze everything in extreme detail.
Well, look, we've run over a bit. I think we could probably talk all afternoon, to be fair. But thank you so much for that. Thank you to everyone that asked different questions. I'm sure you'll be able to reach out to Tim and Aiste if you've got any questions on LinkedIn. They're very, very approachable, and they're always speaking to our customers for us as well, which is amazing. Any final words? Anything to share? You all talked out. No?
Just do it.
Yeah, because otherwise it's going to sound really cheesy, won't it? Be something like, "Hey, make the change." Or something like that. Let's not spoil it.
Well, thanks for joining. Our next live webinar will be in a couple of weeks' time. Very different organisation, National Highways. They replaced their more traditional LMS, 10,000 people, people servicing roads, motorways, etc. across the UK. But the team over there was sharing their story and journey with Thrive as well. So very different to the world of Reiss, but a really exciting story as well. So thank you everybody for joining. The recording will be shared out as well if you didn't manage to join today, or if you're going to join part of it. And we'll speak to you soon.
Excellent. Thanks.